All right. Hey, hey. Hi. All right. So, Aquarians, um, I had begun your guys' video and we were interrupted. And so I just want to go ahead and restart this for you. But if you'd like to see that original 6 minutes, I have added that free link right there in the description box. So you'll hear me talk about these four cards the way I originally did. Every time, I recap something, I'll probably add in some things, miss other things. So that's why I wanted you guys to have the right to still see the original 6 minutes if you would like to. But yeah, so let's go ahead and jump on in. So this is a highly specific message, and I did want to approach it from whatever their perspective is, whoever they may be. And we have got a Five of Swords. So we have conflict right out of the gate. And my first impression is that we have someone who could be a um, fellow Aquarius or a Gemini or a Libra, or they simply view themselves as the partner to Aquarius, but they come across as if they have been very frustrated, very angry at themselves for possibly having a sharp tongue. If they had an argument with Aquarius, as soon as those words left their lips, they were like, oh my God, I don't think it was just one argument. I think it was a couple of them. And then the way I believe I said it is I think Aquarius turned and walked their fine self right out the door because they're not dealing with somebody who throws thunderbolts like that. This person will say divine masculine immediately regretted what they said. And my impression is that they Aquarius and this individual could live someplace where there are like really beautiful skies, thunder and lightning storms, but also somewhere in like flat plain area. Um, they instantly wanted to erase or reset or say sorry, but more than that, turn the page on this or turn back the page. The song that had come to mind was Cher's "If I Could Turn Back Time." There was another song, and now it's already out of my head. I can't remember what it was that I said at the beginning. Oh, yeah, I think it was Rilo. I got a thing for you, and I can't let go. Um, they to me they see Aquarius as somebody really lovely, really quite a gentle soul, someone who may like crystals or have a really good vibration to them. Amethyst crystal could be something that is something connected to Aquarius. And I also, just because of the beach energy here, to me it felt like Aquarius may have a connection to like an island, like heritage, like cultural heritage, either in this life or in a past life. They may be really drawn to seashells and like ocean motif, for like decor in their home, like, beautiful ocean colors, sand and white and teal with, crystals and seashells. That could be something that this person, this masculine, thinks of Aquarius in a really lovely way. Like Aquarius has a beautiful energy to them that they did not display themselves. Okay. They weren't in that same beautiful energy, is the way I probably should have said that. And it's like, why didn't I just say what I meant instead of, you know, saying it in a rude way, a harsh way? Why can I not govern my tongue better? I should have respected my Aquarius. I mean, especially, and I think I said this in part one, well, the original as well. They want to be more respectful, especially if Aquarius is like the parent of their child or something. It's like, oh my God, what have I done? You don't go around talking to your partner like that. I can't believe I just said something so rude or so callous, or the way I framed something was so disrespectful. And I feel like Aquarius doesn't put up with any of that. I think Aquarius, like, they use, if somebody won't treat them well, I think Aquarius just shuts down. I think Aquarius turns on their heel and walks out the door. I think they don't put up with rudeness. I think they don't put up with crudeness. I think they just won't tolerate it and they just bounce. So, with that in mind, they know it. I'll say this King of Swords, they know. All they had to do was communicate instead of be rude or snarky or disrespectful. Maybe that's a problem that they have, finding a way to like remember who they're talking to. I feel like this person is like, why am I hot-headed? Why do I not? They do have a great brain, I will say that, but I don't know if they're very good at governing what they say or thinking about the way they come across. And I'm going to say, I don't feel like Aquarius was like overly sensitive. I think Aquarius really, truly, like, the vibe that they put out is what they expect to receive, communicating about problems, and in a productive way, and getting to the bottom of things so that both people feel respected and heard. I think that's what Aquarius is like. That's the only kind of engagement I'm willing to participate in. If you can't do that, then I can't be here. And I do think that they are expecting this person to show them respect consistently, especially during times where there's conflict or there's things that need to be worked out. And I believe that because of the way Aquarius has handled things, I think Aquarius has given this person respect, and this King of Swords knows it. And I think they also are very sensitive to the fact that that is what I have not given in return to my Aquarius. So I would just say that they're pretty aware of what they've done. Knight of Wands. If anything, Aquarius comes across right now as single, sexy, doing whatever they want, going wherever they want. And I think that this is going to drive them bananas. Now, and I don't know for sure, but this could be that they always kind of imagine Aquarius being like the life of the party, somebody very sensual, somebody very attractive. Maybe that also can tend to make them jealous, even if they didn't identify it like that. With the Ace of Coins, they need to offer the peace offering. If they have a tendency to look at a situation only through their own lens, and they were like imagining, like, oh my gosh, I'm sure that, Aquarius is going to wind up having somebody who, is trying to get with them, and, it drives them crazy. And then they say something out of jealousy, and it could be out of jealousy. That is not going to fly. They're going to have to learn how not to do that bit. So definitely with that Ace of Coins there, we have a High Priest as well. This High Priest being here is, that's the Hierophant in any other deck. I feel like they are recognizing that they need to quit being so jealous of Aquarius, and realize if Aquarius chose to be with them, chose to be in a relationship with them, they need to understand that Aquarius is honoring that commitment, and they can't let their jealousy get off the charts. It does feel like, I don't know if their jealousy is something that makes their tongue be a little bit vinegar, and they hadn't acknowledged that before. But I mean, maybe that's a trigger for them, It could be somebody who's really afraid of losing Aquarius, but then by being rude, of course they're going to lose Aquarius. It feels like they have to turn over a new leaf when it comes to that kind of jealousy, though. With this Hierophant, it's strong Taurus energy coming in, but you notice that it's kind of like they have to bridge that gap. They maybe even need to understand, maybe they got cheated on before, maybe that's why they fear something, and maybe they hadn't thought that through before. Maybe they were punishing Aquarius for the hurt that somebody else caused them, and they only just now got logical enough to understand it, is kind of the way this comes across. By the way, somebody could be fairly spiritual, and he may have gone to talk to a spiritual counselor, particularly that there could be Catholicism involved here. It doesn't have to be, but we certainly see some of that. But I'm thinking that this character has consulted with someone that they could get some advice from, or they just consulted with their own heart space a little bit. This is a connection to the higher self, but we do have kind of an organized religious structure that we see here. And, having someone where we can say, this is what happened, this is the way I behaved, I don't want to disrespect. They may have a really strong spiritual belief that you don't disrespect your partner, and then here they went and did it. So the immense guilt that I see on this card, if they are spiritual, they may have gone to confession or something to say, I didn't treat my own partner well. I said something rude, and, and maybe that helped them, like, to identify, like, okay, why did I do that? And like maybe help them to understand something about their own behavior that they hadn't put their finger on before. Because we got the big light bulb lighting up. It's like, oh my God, that's why I did that. Well, now that I've recognized where the behavior comes from, now that I realize I was getting triggered, I'm worried. I'm actually kind of jealous or worried because I'm afraid, what if Aquarius, is going to cheat on me just because somebody else did in the past, but here I am punishing Aquarius for someone else who cheated on me. I don't feel like this is Aquarius. This isn't even Aquarius's energy, right? They know Aquarius is like a sweetie. That it doesn't even make sense that that's what they would think, that Aquarius is going to cheat on them. But they may have been very fearful of that because someone else did. And they just blurred the lines in their brain because of their own, the thing that hurt most, the thing that is their soft spot, their trigger. And maybe that sometimes pops up, or maybe they remember being disrespected and they imagine, that that's going to happen again. And without even realizing it, they are kind of reactive. Because it just feels like they say sharp things, way sharper than what you would need to. And all of this feels like it's because of like an old wound, Definitely they're understanding this better about their own actions. And I feel like now that they get it, now that they could actually articulate it and be like, I was afraid you'd leave me. I was afraid you'd cheat on me. In fact, Aquarius is the person they actually want to marry. But my God, they got to treat Aquarius, good. They got to treat Aquarius with respect consistently. But I think this is them realizing that I think this is a behavior that they can get under control again, now that they understand why they were behaving that way. Six of Cups. Yeah, it's been a lesson. And I do think that even if they come across as very, normally King of Swords is very intellectual, but you notice that his heart is up here on this sword, way up here, almost like he was afraid to get his emotions connected, even though his emotions were already connected to Aquarius. But now he had to get more cerebral about, why have I been either afraid to give my heart, or why have I been, at times like, insulted and imagining that Aquarius has somehow insulted me and then reacting like they have, when it wasn't Aquarius at all. It was somebody from my past, and it's really my fears speaking through me right now. This is great for them to recognize this. This is great for them to put their finger on this. And I would argue that it speaks of, some significant growth in them for sure. So awesome to see that growth here, especially with the Six of Cups. This looks pretty good now. It looks like they're in a place where they can understand what their actions were, but they also have a remedy for it in this case. I don't think it's going to be too long before this person tries to really take that leap and really come forward and really try to like give their energy to Aquarius again with that Six of Cups. That Six of Cups says, yes, they're ready to give their love. They're ready to give their fidelity. They're ready to also be a true partner and stop thinking about partners in the past who didn't do right by them and things that have triggered them. In this case, it feels like, just one of those things where this person needed to learn, why are they sometimes, anybody can have a day where they're snarky, but it seemed like for them, it was probably, specific things were a trigger, and it had nothing to do with Aquarius. It was just their wounding. And then they would, say something that was just like, oh no, you don't talk to me like that. That's not the kind of relationship I'm going to be in. Now, no matter how much they want Aquarius, no matter how much they want to fix things with Aquarius, Aquarius has a really big job of deciding whether or not they want to give this person another chance. The one thing I will say is they come across as a King of Swords upright. They also came across as somebody who regrets their own actions. If this is someone who was not intending to cause hurt. Now, I don't tell stories about characters that, are intentionally trying to cause grief or harm to anyone else, because to me that's abuse, and I don't tell stories like that because I wouldn't support my characters dealing with that. I'm like, nope, absolutely not. If you do that intentionally, no, you got to go. You can't play with others. You got to go work on yourself. You got to figure out why you're doing that. So that's a one caveat to this, is this storyline is we didn't see him trying to cause grief and hurt. We saw his own wounds seeping out. It's like, with somebody with a broken heart and their heart's bleeding on somebody else, of course, Aquarius didn't deserve whatever their, negative reaction was. But I will say this, it appears that they were big enough to understand, why am I feeling this way? That is not okay. I don't want to behave that way either. And to put a stop to it, I got to look at my own self. And it feels like they have done some of that. But still, Aquarius gets to decide whether or not Aquarius wants to take this person back, give this person a second chance, and see how it goes. Can they really identify where their wounding is? Is this the end of that? So now they behave better, and they treat Aquarius with the respect that Aquarius is due. They certainly, in this storyline, says that they intend to. And now that they know better, maybe now they can do better, So maybe they won't be so quickly wounded and hot-headed and let, something unkind slide out of their lips. But only Aquarius gets to decide whether or not this is somebody they'd still want to deal with. So I'm going to leave that there. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Bye, guys.